In this episode, we will start the discussion on how to move humans towards becoming the ultimate individuals they can be. There is a valuable lesson to be learned from the scene of cattle lazily walking towards the river.
I want to tell you how to break old patterns of behavior in your mind, how to create new neural pathways. So if you have a bad habit, let's say you've got an addiction and you are smoking or you are doing something that is not good and you want to really break that ugly, bad behavioral pattern, then you must first understand how it works. So the way it works, this pathway was carved by animals that take them to the river, and every day they will follow the same footpath. That's the way your brain works. You developed a behavioral pattern that was unconducive, but now your brain defaults, and then you just keep on walking on this pattern in your brain, and that creates the action. To break this pattern, you need to get out of your comfort zone and off the road that is paved out, and you've got to get help. You can't do it by yourself. You can't just sit in coaching and counseling sessions and think it's going to work. You've got to have lots of tenacity, and you've got to have help, and you've got to start creating an uncomfortable new pattern, and you've got to walk a new route. You've got to do different things. You've got to get out of your comfort zone every single day of your life and start a new pattern. And somebody must help you, that you don't just default on an old ugly type of behavior, or you form a new pattern that's also an ugly pattern. You need to form an enabling pattern that's going to be conducive for your optimum human.
It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, and by now it should be clear that this has to change. So what are the steps to follow, or the tools that can be used to bring about this change?
Do you have a tool to help you to move a human to do a task in a successful way, to task completion point? Do you have a tool when you train somebody that they learn in a sustainable way, that they learn in a way that they will never forget the learning? If not, I've got a tool for you. It's called CBTWA. CBTWA. CBTWA.
Can I say it, people? CBTWA. 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 Conceive, believe, talk, and walk, and achieve.
So what does that stand for? C stands for conceive. B for believe. T for talk. W for walk. A for achieve. CBTWA. So I'm going to explain the first two, and they are the most important components of any project, of any learning. When you get them, and when you get that right, then there's an automatic process with a human that drives the process to achieve. So C stands for conceive. Conceive is understand, comprehend, in the moment, focused, but it also stands for giving new life. So that is all about the sperm, the story of the sperm and the egg cell. And when they come together, they form a new life. And the new life forms new cells, and it starts forming a new human with a new identity. And that's what needs to happen in the beginning of your process of learning or your process of developing a project. There's got to be very deep conception. So the other understanding would be, so when the sperm swims and it gets stuck on the egg cell, then there's a sound. What's that sound? Sloop, sloop. And that's what needs to happen. The human that is learning, the learner, needs to sloop. They need to comprehend, they need to understand, they need to be in the moment. And that information and that learning needs to give them new life, new thoughts that grows into something new. They mustn't go in here and go out here and forget the whole thing. It's got to be stuck and it's got to grow and develop. And now that is the first phase. So now there's life. The next one is believe. Believe, how can you believe just by somebody telling you stuff? So that is just regurgitating information and giving information out without ever switching on your brain. To believe is to first experience. For you to have a conviction and be motivated and be enthused, you need to experience something so that you can actually say, I experienced it, so I'm a believer. So once you get somebody to believe, so the facilitator or the trainer needs to get a human into an experiential learning, an experience or more experiences, so that it is immediately there. They can now go on the further journey to talk. So we will always say, we taught you all these things, now tell it, give it back to us. 5 days later you're writing a test. What does that help? If that human didn't integrate the learning, new life was given by the understanding and comprehension and the focus on that information. The next one is that they went through experiential learning and they experienced it for themselves. Now you don't need to force them to talk or to give it back, to remember it, to use your memory anymore. No, they use the experience, and that drives the volitional ability for the mouth to start talking. It bubbles over, you just can't help it. If you had a conviction by experience, you will tell everybody and say, I experienced this, this is amazing, this is busy changing me, it's giving new life to me. You automatically talk. It's not an effort, it's not a pull and push, it's not a force. And now once you talk, your body is subservient and it starts walking the talk. You can't help yourself walking the talk because it is a volitional energy that moves you into that direction of that learning to start applying it and doing it. And from the talk, you will eventually have so much momentum that you will get to achieve success.
By now, you should be a believer of occupational intelligence. Let's all spread the word, walk by example, and work towards achieving the change that you want to see in our society.